So here's something I never thought you'd see on this channel. A nylon string guitar. Classical guitar. Now before we go any further, I apologize for the poor quality of this video. I am in a hotel room. I would never buy a chair like that. But with that aside, let's take a look at this really nice classical guitar. Look at the wood grain. Beautiful wood grain. Fantastic. Looks absolutely stunning. Let's pan up. Looking good. Wait a minute. Whoa. Is that a... This is a Yamaha. This is a guitar found in middle schools all over the world and played by snotty little kids before they give up guitar in 3 weeks. What do you mean this is a top quality guitar? So here is the guitar. It actually sounds quite good. It sounds a lot better than I expected for a $150 guitar. Now, this is not the first Yamaha that I picked up in the store. I picked up another one, and as soon as I started playing it, my friend who was with me, who does not play an instrument, he said, "Oh wow, that sounds good." And I thought the same thing. You know, you don't expect that. At this price point, you kind of think it's going to be weak and thin, and it sounds pretty good. Now, I am no classical guitar player. I have terrible technique, so I can't really get the good sounds that professionals get, and I don't really have a lot of experience listening to them. But to my electric player ears, it sounds really good. Now, the first one that I picked up, that I mentioned before, actually had a chip right about here in the fretboard. And so I took it up to the front and I said, "Hey guy, I like this guitar. It's got a chip here. Do you have another one in the box?" And he went and he got the box. And he pulled out the guitar and, you know, he looks at it, he's taking off the wrapping and he's like, "Wow, the grain on this one is really good. It's a lot better than the other one." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, Guitar Center guy, you really want that sale, huh?" And then he hands it to me and I'm like, "No, damn. Look at that." So that was impressive. And then the action is also pretty good. For an acoustic guitar with zero setup out of the box, that's pretty good. I mean, that's about what you want. You don't have a lot of adjustments you can make on a nylon string as far as I understand, so it needs to be pretty good out of the box, and it is. In fact, everything about this guitar is exactly the way it should be, and it's completely functional and actually easy to play and good sounding. So let's talk for a minute about why I have an acoustic guitar, because I think this is pretty cool. So one of my closest friends is getting married, and when he asked me to come to the wedding, he said, "Hey, do you think you could play some acoustic guitar at my wedding?" And of course I said yes. I didn't need any time to think about it. And I got off the phone and I was like, "Wait a minute. I don't play acoustic guitar. I don't have an acoustic guitar. And the wedding is 3,000 miles away." So I came out here to the West Coast, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to Guitar Center, and I'm going to get a cheap nylon string guitar, you know, probably a Yamaha. And by the way, let's hear it for Yamaha. If you want something, and it's complicated, Yamaha probably makes it, and it's probably amazing. You want a dirt bike? They got you. You want a piano? They got you. You want some electronics? Yeah, they probably got you there too. You want a nylon string guitar? Yeah, they got you. They're all great. What a great company. Exhibit B as to why Yamaha is awesome. If your guitar needs any part to service, you pretty much, well, you call this number and they'll figure it out for you. If you're in America, Canada, Mexico, South America, Central America, Australia, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that's Russia, China, Korea, also gonna assume Japan. I believe we're missing somewhere. Oh, right. Yeah, and you could always call their representative offices in Europe. Okay, now I've come to the point where we point out every flaw in this guitar. So there's a little gouge in the bridge there, pretty much purely cosmetic. Next, let's take a look at the neck. The neck is actually great. There's not a high fret or a sharp fret end anywhere on here. And actually, if you look at the fretboard, that looks and feels like rosewood to me. Pretty sure it is. So, you know, a lot of manufacturers out there hold back rosewood only for their most expensive guitars. Well, Yamaha, they're going to go ahead and put it on their $150 classical guitar because it's supposed to be there. And it's not bad rosewood either. If we flip the guitar over, it's actually a pretty matte finish neck. It's not gloss or sticky at all. It feels fantastic. That was always my complaint with cheap guitars, is they seem like they have an inch-thick layer of polyurethane on the neck, and this has a nice matte finish. It's not even shiny. And the wood itself actually looks pretty good. This, I believe, is a 3-piece neck. You can see there's a joint there, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but there's definitely a scarf joint up there as well. Let's check out the headstock and the tuners. They actually are pretty good, and they're stable. They have no wobble to them at all, and the guitar stays in tune very well. So to wrap it up, I really like this guitar a lot. I don't like it for a $150 guitar. I just like it. It's really good. And I was under, a little bit of constraints here when I bought this thing, and it's doing the job perfectly. It's doing more than I could have asked. So if you have ever wondered about classical guitar, but you didn't want to shell out for something incredibly expensive, you may not need to. Just don't be afraid to ask them to take one out of the box when you go to the store. And of course, I am using this guitar in a pretty important event in one of my closest friends' lives, and this has a lot of value to me, to the point where, I'm buying this guitar on the West Coast, and I'm actually going to put it back in the box and ship it to myself on the East Coast, because I want to hold on to this guitar forever. And quite frankly, given what I've seen of it so far, it's going to last. Very nice guitar, very low price, and the event and the reason why I have it, you just give it infinite value to me. So in terms of a cheap guitar being worth the price, I can't say much more about this. Fantastic instrument.